What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast, a weekly New York sports update. I am your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. You can find me on Twitter at @A_30, and you can find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. This update is for the week of April 25th through May 2nd. That was last Wednesday to this Tuesday. But this update is a little bit special as compared to all the last posts that I've done. The last 20 episodes of the podcast and the 4 sports updates. It's different because if you're listening to this, you're listening either via Spreaker.com, iTunes, or Google Play Music, because yes, Sports Opinions has expanded. We are on all 3 of those outlets, whichever one you prefer to listen to, whether it's all 3 or not. Please enjoy listening. If you're listening, thank you. And also go make sure you click subscribe and spread the word. Let them know that Sports Opinions Podcast is the place to be. It's a fun place. We talk about sports. I talk about sports all the time. And if you want to hear something, you want me to talk about a certain topic, or if you just want to come on the weekly guest spot that I record every week, let me know. Hit me up on either one of the Twitters that I gave you and we can work something out. So we got a busy episode this week. I want to add that in the future, when it gets closer to football season, basketball season, I'm going to add some collegiate stuff. I'm going to do some of the local collegiate teams. So we're going to be talking about Rutgers. We're going to be talking about Syracuse. I'm going to homer a little for Marist because that's where I went. But anything notable, and I'm also a track junkie, and outdoor track season's coming to a close. So anything notable from my Marist Red Foxes or anything big going on that any of the guys or girls in our local area have done nationally, I'm probably going to bring up on one of these updates. So if you don't like track, unfortunately, just skip that part. But we're going to get going on the update right now with Ernest. I know the NFL draft was a big deal, but I'm going to continue with the trend where I start off talking about the teams that have been playing. So not to take away from that, we're going to start in Major League Baseball, where the New York Yankees have hit their stride. Yes, the team that everyone thought they were going to see is starting to come out. They were 6-1 last week in games. Yeah, that's 6-1. 7 days. They played 7 games. I don't think they've had a break in God knows how long. But within that 6-1, they had a 9-game win streak that came to a close against the Houston Astros in Sonny Gray's best start. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, struck out 4, gave up 3 walks. It was only a 1-2 loss, and that was on the 30th. So it wasn't a bad start. It was Sonny Gray's best start. But in this streak, the bat of Gary Sanchez has woken up. He is finally starting to be the hitter. All the talk early in the year was that Gary Sanchez was probably the most gifted hitter on the team. And man, oh man, is he showing it. Over the last week, he had 2 home runs. I lied. 3 home runs. That puts him up at 8 on the season. He has now 27 RBIs. I think that's only trailing Didi Gregorius on the team, who, oh yeah, Didi's still hitting. He hasn't stopped. But all the bats are really coming to work. Aaron Judge is continuing to play well. Giancarlo Stanton is struggling. But this is being recorded on a Wednesday, and as of today, they played the Astros again, and Giancarlo Stanton has hit 2 home runs in this game. So that'll be on the update for next week, but I'm just giving you guys a sneak hit that Giancarlo might be snapping out of it a little bit. But so the Yankees 6-1 this week. They're 19-10 on the year, playing good baseball, playing the baseball that everyone thought they were going to see. They're getting good enough starts out of their starters, and the bullpen is really playing well. They have been lights out in the game. On 5-1 on May 1st, they won 4-0. Jordan Montgomery, sad enough, Jordan Montgomery's injured. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a left flexor strain. But the good news is he only pitched 1 inning, but the bullpen picked it up. And they didn't allow a single run throughout the game, which is great. Speaking of that bullpen, the guy that picked up a big part of the workload for the Yankees, Domingo Germán, I think it's Domingo Germán. He's going to be starting for Montgomery because I think he pitched almost 4 innings in the game that Montgomery got injured in. So he's earned that right to get a chance to hold on to that starter spot, at least until Montgomery comes back. But this is also a chance for any of the youngsters, including Germán, to take this by the balls and not let this go. Other guys that they could play around with, there's Chance Adams who's struggling in AAA, but Justice Sheffield could get called up. So there's a good chance there. Some other quick notes on the Yankees. Jacoby Ellsbury transferred to the 60-day DL. Nobody's surprised by that. Clint Frazier was activated from the DL, sent down to the minors to start his rehab, hopefully to get him up there and put him in the mix with this outstanding outfield that the Yankees have. And they also signed right-handed pitcher David Hale to create some pen depth. And, oh yeah, I mentioned Sir Didi. Didi Gregorius named AL Player of the Month for the first time in his career. He deserved it. He was out of his mind. Upcoming games for the week. They face Houston 2 more times, including tonight, which they're actually looking like they're going to win 4-0. It's top 9. They play Cleveland 3 times, and they play Boston. They start their series. They have a game within this week, so they have a gauntlet. A lot of tough teams, a lot of playoff caliber teams there, so let's see what they do. Going on to the Mets. Mets had their first week of the year where they played on their 500 ball. They were 2-4 on the week. They are 17-10 now, and they've hit Earth a little bit. But that's not to say that there is any panic. They're still 7 games above 500. They put up a 14 spot on the San Diego Padres to end their series against them. They did lose 2-12, but that was on Jason Vargas's first start back. No, people are going crazy about that. What do you expect from a guy who's just coming off the DL? Give him a few starts. So I kind of put that as a wash. Vargas I think he went an inning, gave up 9 hits, 9 earned, 3 walks on 5 and had 5 Ks. So he went more than 1 inning. I think he went like maybe 3 possibly, but get off the guy's back. Get off the Mets' back. You have to start him. You have to get his arm ready. Give him 2 or 3 starts before you crucify him. But good news, Jason DeGrom is Jason DeGrom. In their win against San Diego, 7.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 walks, 8 Ks. The guy's a monster. He has a 2.06 ERA, 3-0 on the year. That is your ace, everyone. That is your ace, Mets fans. Other good news, Zach Wheeler is pretty much pitching well. He's Zach Wheeler. He's not the greatest control guy, but he's pitching as good as you can for this team. Yoenis Cespedes continues to tear the cover off the ball. Adrian Gonzalez continues to find the fountain of youth or steroids. We'll find out. And also as Jubal Cabrera continues his stellar play. So Mets fans have a lot to be happy with. I know they're begging for Real Muto. And Mets fans are trying to think of trade packages to get Real Muto from the Marlins. I know the Marlins basically gave up their whole team, but I don't think they're going to trade in division. So that could just be a pipe dream for the Mets. The Mets might just need to, I don't know, just figure out a way to either develop a catcher or find a diamond in the rough, a prospect from another team, and see if you could pick him up and see if you could make him into something. Other news, Matt Harvey making headlines for all the wrong reasons, which we become accustomed to with his time as a Met. He was partying apparently in Los Angeles before one of the San Diego games, and then, oh, what a surprise, he came in relief and pitched like crap. And I was actually, it's interesting, I was talking to my father-in-law today, and he said, is he doing anything different than other athletes? And the answer is probably no. But when you're in New York, you're trying to come back, you talk the crap that Matt Harvey talks, you have the pompous attitude that he has, you're going to be under a microscope and you're going to get grilled, and things that you do like this are going to reach the tabloids, and they're going to be the reason why you pitch like crap. So, I don't know. And my advice to Matt Harvey from some little Joe Schmo with a little podcast that doesn't really mean much, cut the crap, because this doesn't look good for the other teams that you're going to want to go to too. After this year, I don't think Harvey's going to be a Met, but this isn't going to bode well if, you just continue to mess around and screw around, and I don't know. It just doesn't look good. So, upcoming for the Mets next week, they have Atlanta. They finish off their series, 2 more games against Atlanta. They play Colorado for 3 games, and then they have Cincinnati for 2. Colorado and Cincinnati are winnable games. They've been struggling against Atlanta this year. It is what it is, division foe. But Colorado, Cincinnati, you could definitely pick up wins in both of those series. So let's hope that the Mets turn it around. Let's go to some soccer. Major League Soccer, United States soccer, not the foreign stuff, because we're talking about New York sports here. Starting off with the New York Red Bulls, because they're my favorite team. And they picked up a win this week. They beat the LA Galaxy in the formal rivalry, as I like to call it, 3-2. Goals scored by Daniel Royer, Florian Velo, and Alejandro Romero Gamara. None of them have had outstanding goal numbers, but it still was early in the season. Good production from the Red Bulls. Lots of goals. They gave up 2, but a win's a win. They're slowly climbing up the table. They're 4-0-3 now, 12 points. And in some news for them, they had right back Kyle Duncan placed on the season-ending injury reserve, which kind of sucks. But that sprung this move where they signed right back Ethan Cutler from USL Red Bulls 2, which is basically their farm team, which, was good to see developing their farm. They need to bring someone up. But they also agreed to have Antigua GFC defender Alan Yanes transfer to the Red Bulls after the conclusion of his season with Antigua GFC. So they got some defenseman help coming. I'm going to skip the upcoming because the upcoming happens to be the team I'm going to talk about next, NYCFC. NYCFC, they won their game against FC Dallas, which has been playing good soccer. FC Dallas is one of the better teams. They beat them 3-1. Jesus Medina scored a goal. David Villa had 2, which David Villa is just outstanding. He's tearing up the MLS since he's been there. His talent level is just above everyone else. It's kind of like Thierry Henry when he came to the Red Bulls at the end of his tenure, or even Bradley Wright Phillips for the Red Bulls, because, these guys are international, world-class, at one point world-class caliber players. You bring them to the MLS, they continue to do it, and it's at a super high level, which is why Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been tearing up the MLS. I digress. But they are 6-1-0 on the year, 20 points. They're up top in the table still, playing really good soccer. Their upcoming is against each other. The Red Bulls, NYCFC, the New York City Derby is going to be an awesome clash. The Red Bulls probably need this more than NYCFC. NYCFC sitting on top of the table. The Red Bulls probably don't want another loss. They want to gain some traction against NYCFC. So we'll see what happens there. Always got to love when the derbies happen. And as much as I was against NYCFC coming to New York City, I really like the fact that there's now a derby. So let's go Red Bulls. NFL, what everyone's been waiting for. Alex, shut the hell up. Stop talking about other sports. Talk about the draft. All right, you got it. One thing I got to mention first. Rob Planner, you heard him on here before, pointed out to me how disappointed he was that I didn't shout out Shore Conference New Jersey when I was talking about the draft. Quentin Nelson, top pick for the Colts, Shore Conference player, Red Bank Catholic player. Sorry, Shore Conference. Sorry, Red Bank Catholic. I didn't give you a shout out. You got it. Shout out to New Jersey football. Shout out to Quentin Nelson. Shout out RBC. Shout out Shore Conference. Shout out to Rob Planner playing at FDU DN. Going to tear it up next year. I digress. But the biggest news for me in this is that that's another Rutgers fail keeping in homegrown talent. A number 6 pick in the NFL draft. Come on, Rutgers. Step your friggin' game up. Let's go on to the draft. New York Giants. I'm going to run down their picks real quick. With the second pick in the first round, Shaquan Barkley, running back, Penn State. In the second round, they picked Will Hernandez, guard, Texas El Paso. 2 picks in the third round. Lorenzo Carter, an edge rusher from Georgia, and B.J. Hill, defensive tackle from NC State. In the fourth round, Kyle Lauletta, quarterback from Richmond, go Spiders. And with the fifth round pick, R.J. McIntosh, defensive tackle, Miami. You could see what Gettleman was trying to do here. He took Shaquan Barkley based off talent level, but then, I was iffy because I was like, he has no one to block for him. Look what he did the very next pick. Will Hernandez was a guard that I really liked. I watched some of the scouting combine. The guy's just a little bull. He's a mauler. He's not the tallest dude, but he's a mauler. You put him next to a guy like Nate Solder, and you really might have a chance at running the ball behind them. They picked up Omame. Omame, we'll see what he could be. He's kind of an experiment. He also plays the guard position, the same spot as Will Hernandez, but one of them will flip. I prefer to put Hernandez next to Nate Solder at that left tackle, solidify that left side, give Saquon somewhere to run when you need a yard, you need something, or even if you want to run a nice counter play, put the strength on one side. Don't split it here because it would work to your benefit with a great runner like Saquon Barkley. I also like what they did defensively. 3 out of the last 4 picks were defenders. An edge rusher from Georgia who I like, Lorenzo Carter, athletic freak. Then they picked 2 big D tackles to get some more depth on that line. And also, they picked their potential quarterback of the future in Kyle Lauletta from Richmond. It's a weird pick because he's not really a highly touted quarterback, but if the Giants feel that they could develop him, it would be great. And it also doesn't seem like it's putting an extreme amount of pressure on Eli, which is good for optics. Other news for the Giants, Saquon Barkley leads the NFL rookie jersey sales, which is pretty damn cool for the Giants fans. Good job, Giants fans, getting out there. They picked up cornerback C.J. Goodwin off waivers. And in other news, which Giants have denied, apparently they tried to trade and battle tackle Eric Flowers during the draft, and no one wanted to take him because of his contract, and they weren't willing to give up what the Giants were asking for. The Giants have since denied this, but I tend to lean on the side that this is true because Eric Flowers is a guy they've been trying to get rid of for a little bit. And kind of backing this up, the Giants have declined Eric Flowers' fifth-year option right after he signed Drew Rosenhaus as an agent. So that means after this season, Eric Flowers will be an unrestricted free agent, and the signing of Drew Rosenhaus, switching from his father, who was his agent, is something that is kind of telling for how this is going to go. So we will see exactly what goes on in this whole entire trials and tribulations with Eric Flowers. But one thing could be for sure is that he is more than likely not going to be a Giant after the end of this season, regardless, or maybe even before the trade deadline. Let's go on to my New York Jets making a splash in the first round. Number 3 pick. Surprise pick of the draft for me. A guy that I wasn't very high on, but you know what? He's here. I'm going to get behind him. That's my quarterback. Number 3, Sam Darnold, quarterback out of USC. Then we're going to go on for the rest of their picks. In the third round, a head-scratcher now. Nathan Shepard, defensive tackle from Fort Hays State, Division II. Who the hell knew where Fort Hays State was? I don't even think people that go to Fort Hays State can really properly describe where the hell it is. But hopefully it's good. He's a big dude. Let's see if a diamond in the rough happens here. Fourth round pick was Chris Herndon, tight end from Miami. High value pick, suffered an injury. Was supposed to be a second day guy if he was healthy, so we could have gotten a really good value here if he turns out. 3 picks in the 6th round. Perry Nicholson, cornerback Tulane. Foley Fatukasi, defensive tackle from Connecticut. And Trenton Cannon, running back Virginia State. The Cannon one's a head scratcher. I have no idea where the hell he came from. Another Division 1A, Division 2 guy, whatever. The other 2 guys, a corner, a defensive tackle, add some depth in both spots. I don't mind it. In other news for the Jets outside the draft, they re-signed linebacker David Bass. Went in some games. If you're a Jets fan, you know who he is. You've seen him on the field. Pretty good depth linebacker. Also, some other news. Sam Darnold was number 3 in rookie jersey sales. And we'll get to the next guy in the Buffalo Bills, who also was in the top 5 for rookie jersey sales, with Sam Darnold, number 3. Jets fans getting out, representing. Also, the jersey that Sam Darnold will wear is his number 14, which Andre Roberts, a wide receiver the Jets picked up, agreed to give up in trade. Andre Roberts is going to wear number 3. Sam Darnold is going to take his number 14, which he wore in college. Next up, the Buffalo Bills. There's some really big news in the front office, but we're going to stick with the draft first. First round, number 7 pick, Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming. Shocking pick for a lot of people. I love the pick. I'm a high on Josh Allen. I like the guy. Big guy, played in Wyoming, played in Elements. Going to be perfect as long as the players there rally behind him and the coaching staff rallies behind him. Josh Allen didn't have much to work with in Wyoming. If anyone watched his pro day, throwing bullets at supposed to be collegiate wide receivers, dropping them in their hands. Not going to happen in the pros when he puts it on these guys, hopefully. So Josh Allen, number 1 in the first round, number 7 pick. He had another first round pick, number 16, Tremaine Edwards, outside linebacker, Virginia Tech. Love this pick. Third round, Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle from Stanford. Fourth round, Taron Johnson, cornerback from Weber State. Fifth round, Siren Neal, safety from Jacksonville State. Again in the 5th round, Wyatt Teller, guard from Virginia Tech. 6th round, Ray McLeod, wide receiver, Clemson. 7th round, Austin Proehl, wide receiver, North Carolina. The bottom 2 kind of play the same exact position. If you're a real football fan, you would know Austin Proehl, the last name. That's Ricky Proehl's son. Not half the size. He's a small dude. Ricky Proehl was a big dude. Austin Proehl's tiny. He's a slot back. So is Ray McLeod. We'll see which one of those 2 makes it out of training camp or even gets invited to training camp. One of them you probably won't see on the roster, Bills fans. I'm hoping Proehl's on the roster. Nothing against Ray McLeod. I just want to see another Proehl in the NFL. The other picks, Harrison Phillips, Tremaine Edwards, great picks for that defense. I don't know much about Taron Johnson from Weber State. I'd be lying if I talked about that. And another few guys, Wyatt Teller, guard, Virginia Tech, smart, get some meat in there, get someone who can jump in, be depth on that line, potentially fight for a starting spot to protect your new quarterback. I like what the Bills did in the draft. But apparently the Bills have had some troubles. The Bills and Buffalo Sabres. This is a twofold, so Sabres news as well, a little bit early. Hello, awesome. Bills and Sabres president Russ Brandon resigns after a misconduct investigation. And the person that takes over is none other than basically a co-owner, Terry Pegula's wife. And you know what? I'm wrong to say that. It's not Terry Pegula's wife. Kim Pegula is her own woman. Kim Pegula is named the team president. She is the only female in the second female in the NFL to have duties as presidential duties like that for football operations, and she becomes the only female in the NHL with the presidential title. So she's treading new grounds for women. And Kim Pegula, again, I apologize for calling you Terry Pegula's wife. You're not Terry Pegula's wife. You're Kim Pegula, kick-ass businesswoman that is, showing women how it's done. We'll see if she can handle the pressure. Anytime anyone steps into a first-time presidential role, she's been the owner for a little bit, a co-owner. Being an owner is different than being a president, as involved as you want to be. So we'll see how she does. Rooting for her. I know the people of Buffalo are rooting for her because she has control of two of their franchises, and the people of Buffalo eat, sleep, and breathe their sports. Bills Mafia is absolutely insane. Other news, Jared Allen was number 4 in the rookie jersey sales. So you know what? New York, stand up. All of New York. All you guys representing your rookies and supporting them. Awesome. I hope all 3 of our rookies can come through, except for when Jared Allen plays the Jets. He can have like 9 interceptions each of those games. All the other games, he can play well. And also, the Bills GM, Brandon Beane, has come out and said he's open to signing Dez Bryant if he could see Dez Bryant as a fit. Nice little scapegoat word there, Brandon Beane. That's a nice way of saying that, we're probably not going to sign you, Dez, but thanks for the interest. Going on to the NBA, it's been off-season time for a long time for our 2 local teams. The big news for the Knicks, it continues to be the head coaching search. Apparently, they've completed their head coaching interviews, and they hope to hire someone within the upcoming week. The leader right now, in terms of all reports, is David Fizdale. The quote is that he is gaining traction and possibly has the lead. I think he'd be a great pick. I was already on the record on one of my podcasts saying that David Fizdale would be fantastic. But there's also rumors that they could possibly expand the search now, too. It's front office stuff. They do all this type of rumor stuff, so it is what it is. The guys that are being linked to being in the expanded search might be more interesting than the ones that you currently have. Might be more interesting than Mike Budenholzer, the David Fizdales, the David Blatts, the Mark Jacksons, the Kenny the Jet Smith, all people. Juwan Howard is throwing his name in the hat, apparently. All the people, the candidates that are there. Apparently, Doc Rivers of the Clippers and Terry Stotts of the Trailblazers could be interviewed if the search expands. If those guys agree to an interview, I think you got to expand the search because Doc Rivers and Terry Stotts, especially Terry Stotts, I like Terry Stotts. I think Doc Rivers is a great coach, but Doc Rivers, he's been in LA. He's a championship coach, but I really like Terry Stotts and the Trailblazers. So if those 2 are willing to listen, I think you got to expand your search and not decide this week. The Nets, not too many big news lines. Again, it's off-season, so there's nothing crazy. 2 likely players reported that the Nets would do offer sheets to in restricted free agency. As everyone has known, the past 2 years, the Nets have made a living off of putting out these gigantic restricted free agent offer sheets and making teams match them, putting them into cap hell. And you know what? It worked out for one. We got Alan Crabb, who had a pretty damn good year for us. We got him from the Trailblazers for basically nothing, so I'm happy with that. But the 2 players are Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic, Jabari Parker of the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 similar style players. Aaron Gordon has a little more pop and a lot more range. He could shoot threes. He would really fit on the Nets well. I would love to have Aaron Gordon in a Nets uniform. Jabari Parker had a first real breakout year this year. He returned from injury and was a spark plug for that Milwaukee Bucks team. And he played well all year, so he'd be another player I'd like. But if I'm ranking them, Aaron Gordon's higher on my list. And also, quick little Nets news. I don't know how much news it is to anyone because I guarantee none of these guys are going to see the light of day. They might be on the Long Island Nets team, maybe. They're holding a 3-day mini camp basically for rarely used or washed up NBA players, G Leaguers, and overseas players. Again, none of these guys probably going to crack the roster unless something goes dramatically wrong for the Nets or they find a real diamond in the rough. You never know, but I doubt it very highly. So we'll see. 3-day minicamp. And last but definitely not least on anyone's list, especially not in my heart, the NHL, hockey. The Rangers, news is they've gotten the 9th pick in the draft, top 10 pick. So it's a guy that they could definitely pick and can make an impact right away. They obviously are still doing a coaching search, and the news is that they let one of their coaches walk away without an offer that they were truly interested in. University of Denver coach Jim Montgomery came in for an interview, and apparently he blew everyone away. He wowed everyone, and the Rangers really liked him. But when he told the Rangers that he would wish to stay with the Denver team, they didn't even offer him. They just said, all right, cool, goodbye, go walk. And apparently it's from what they've learned, we're trying to bribe players that don't really want to be there with money. So maybe this is a tactic that might work out in the end for the Rangers, but kind of sucks. It's kind of the old adage of, if you like someone and you really think that they're going to be the fit, you make them stay there. So we'll see if it works out for the Rangers. I hope it works out for the Rangers, especially for the fans of the Blue Shirts. So we'll see. Final news for the Rangers. They've officially signed forward Michael Lindqvist. I reported, I think it was a few updates ago that they were interested in Michael Lindqvist. They officially signed him now, so let's see what he can do with the Blue Shirts. If he can crack one of the lines, he'll definitely be a fourth lineman, I think, and be an impact guy. We'll see how he'll do. Devils news, not much news in Devils front. Big news, guy that's been big news all year. Taylor Hall was named the finalist for the Ted Lindsley Trophy, which is a trophy for the most outstanding player. Add this to his Hart Trophy finalist for MVP, and just tells you the season that Taylor Hall has had. On to the Islanders. Some big news for the Islanders, potentially blockbuster news for the Islanders. First, big news for them is the arena in Belmont is set to start construction on schedule next spring. That's exciting for Islanders fans. They're going to get a home in Belmont. Let's hope that they can fix something up with Nassau so they can get themselves back onto Long Island where they belong, where the fans will travel, where the fans want them to be. And the other big news, Lou Lamoriello has resigned from the Toronto GM position. And we all know the Islanders are searching for a front office executive to run hockey operations. Is Lou the guy? Lou he was the architect behind the greatness of the Devils when they were there. Obviously getting Marty Brodeur really helps, and guys like Scott Stevens. But, he helped build the teams that won championships there. And also, if you look at Toronto, they're significantly better than they were in the past. So I don't think Lou has had a small part to do with that. So is he in the cards to be the next GM of the New York Islanders? If he is, watch out. Because the Islanders are going to make moves, and they're going to be a competitive team, and that's fun for New York hockey. Other news, draft news, they are slotted to pick 12th in the draft, a little bit higher, which is, probably not where they want to be. They probably want to be a little bit lower somehow, but they're 12th, so we'll keep a little bit news. We'll keep our feelers out for exactly who they are going to pick. For the Buffalo Sabres, they are the number 1 pick in the draft. I cannot wait to see all the speculation of who they pick, so we'll keep it right here when they start to heat up and exactly who they talk about. I already said Kim Pegula is now the president of the Sabres as well with the Bills. We'll see what she does with the team. And the Bills also re-signed defenseman Corey Nelson, who was set to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year to a contract extension, 2-year, $1.625 million. Man, I'd like to see $1.625 million handed to me in my lifetime. But we'll see. Maybe if I continue to do things like this and people like you out there listening like it, maybe I'll get there someday. Who knows? But alas, that is the end of this edition of the Sports Opinions Podcast Weekly New York Sports Update for the week of April 25th to May 2nd. As always, I'm your host, Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter at @_Cuesta30. And you can also find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. Again, don't forget, go subscribe. We're now on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Spreaker.com. Go find us there, go subscribe, enjoy the listening experience. And I have to give a shout out. The intro beat that you heard today was designed by none other than my brother, David Cuesta. And you can find him on Twitter at dcuesta308. Go hound him. If you like the beat, go tell him to make you one. Pay him a little bit. He would like that. Outro beat, someone you heard very recently, Mr. Joe Hackett. He's the one that designed the beat, Mr. Joe Hackett Jr. Again, find him on Twitter at JoeHack_. Again, that's JoeHack_. But those two guys are awesome, and those will be the beat that you'll probably be hearing consistently with this podcast now, unless they give me something new to work with, or unless you do. If you make beats and you want your beat to be featured as an intro or outro of a Sports Opinions podcast, talk to me, let me know, send it to me, and I'll put it on there. Again, this was the Sports Opinions Podcast, weekly New York sports update. Thanks for listening.